In this video we're going to discuss what are the basic tools you need to start repairing your own games consoles and computers. And as you'll see, to start off with, you just need a simple bunch of tools. So all these things I'm displaying right now, when you get more involved with it, by all means go ahead, purchase them. But to start with, we'll show you what tools you need. Are very basic, and you can get pretty much most jobs done with just these tools. If you're just going to own one screwdriver, I would recommend that. It's just a terminal screwdriver. Now this originally had insulation on it and it's been cut away to obviously make it thinner. The good thing with this type of screwdriver is it will open anything, crosshead and flathead. Let's get a Commodore 64, and if I can show you, you see, I can turn the screws on it. Obviously, hopefully your budget extends to be able to buy a second screwdriver, in which case a crosshead screwdriver. This will get you into many of the retro consoles and computers, including things like the Sega Dreamcast, for example. If we look in now, we can see in there, which we cannot, but I'll take this slide off. So we can see there, it's just a normal crosshead screw. So again, this will undo most screws for most games consoles, including these little screws here. Now this is just the basic equipment. Nothing special, nothing fancy. This is just, you want to do some basic repairs, maintenance to your computers or games consoles. These are the basic kind of handful of tools that you're going to need to be able to do that. Now once you're inside your computer or games console, so the next thing you're going to need is this. So this is a multimeter, and really this is a very basic multimeter, and it's all it needs to be really for what we're going to be using it for. So this thing, so I hold this here, we've got AC, DC, and it does an automatic selection. So depending on what circuit you're testing, depends on whether it's going to show you an AC signal or a DC signal. And the other part that's handy is this. So it can measure 1 kiloohm, but more importantly, it's like a bell set. So if you have a fuse that's not working properly, you've got an issue there, then this is ideal. So again, if we imagine this screwdriver here as a fuse and we just want to make sure that it's good, we go one side of the fuse, other side of the fuse, and we should get 0. If we've got a blown fuse, this is what we'll see, and we'll get no sound. So good fuse, bad fuse. Very simple, and again, that fixes a lot of problems on a lot of various different systems. So after that, the next things we would probably be wanting to get, so this will get us into our console, computer, whatever. This will allow us to test our voltages, test whether we've got continuity, test if any cables are broken, etc. So the next thing we'd probably need would be this, as a soldering iron. Now, I normally use a soldering station, but we're just going for the basics here. This is a 30-watt soldering iron. I mean, ideally, you'd want, say, a 25-watt, 30-watt soldering iron. This will be able to desolder quite a few things. And you see it's got like a pointed tip, so you can get quite accurate in there. Where this wouldn't be ideal is if it's very fine surface mount components or things like that. It'd probably be a little bit too heavy for this. But things where there's heat sinks, etc., this will do the job. This is just a basic soldering iron. Again, we're talking absolute basics here. We're not talking repair level or anything. We're talking just basic DIY, get you through to be able to do basic repairs, and this would do the job. And obviously with that, we would need our solder. And again, if we want to desolder, we get some of this stuff. This is desoldering, it says there, solder remover wick. And with that solder remover wick, I would get some flux paste as well. So now this will allow us to remove components, solder in new components, be able to do pretty much everything we need to do on our boards, and be able to do it fairly well as well. If we bring this all in together, so this is our basic setup right now. This will let us do quite a few jobs, just these few simple items. So crosshead screwdriver, flathead screwdriver, soldering iron, solder, desolder wick, and a multimeter. This will let us get into quite a few different things. So our next thing that we'd need going next would be a pair of pliers. Now these are long nose pliers, and again, if you're only going to buy one pair of pliers, I would recommend getting these, because again, you need to get into fine little areas, be able to pick up screws, hold screws to be able to screw into them, etc. So I mean, really you could get a regular set of pliers as well, but these will probably do you initially, be able to do quite a bit of jobs, quite a few different jobs with them. The other thing you'd be wanting are a pair of cutters, so a pair of side cutters, strippers. So again, if you need to make any bridging cables, stuff like that, you can strip the cable, be able to use it. Now these are quite cheap ones, simple. These normally come with, I think I got these with a 3D printer I bought, and they do the job. They, don't get me wrong, they're nice. Obviously, don't try cutting any metal screws with them or things, because they will just damage the blade instantly, but they'll do the job. But I mean, a pair like this, for example, this is a more traditional style pair of side cutters. And again, either or really will do the job. Sometimes some people have a preference for these, some people have a preference for these. I mean, I find these ones a little bit sharper than these ones, but either will do what we need it to do. So another thing also that was quite handy is a pair of tweezers, or ideally a set of tweezers. So again, if we need to hold a component or try and pick something up as we're desoldering it, a pair of them are kind of essential as well. So now if we go for the more specific, so we have things like this, for example. So this is a Gamebit, and now a Gamebit is used, believe it or not, for games. But for example, the Sega Master System, for example, Sega Master System. So for example, the Sega Game Gear has these Gamebit parts, and again, just used to open and close your games. Now you can do this hack where you get a big pen, you heat it up and you put it over one, and it'll last for about 2 or 3 turns. I really don't recommend doing that, because chances are you're gonna damage your cartridge. You're definitely gonna damage the pen, but it's just not gonna last for very long anyway. And for the cost of these, we're talking like a few dollars or a few pounds. And normally you get a set of 2, and you get this slightly bigger one. Now, I'm assuming there are games consoles out there that use this, because for some reason they always sell it in a pair. But I've found this one is the one that I've used the most so far. I haven't really used this one at all. And then the other part we need is one of these. Now, if you're working on Nintendo stuff, this is essential. A tri-wing screwdriver. So if I get a Nintendo game system, so we're talking a Nintendo DS or a Game Boy Advance SP, or even a Game Boy Advance. But again, if we look in there, you can see there's our tri-wing screws, and this is the screwdriver to be able to undo these and do them back up again. So again, another essential screwdriver if you're working on certain bits of equipment. And really, that is pretty much it to get you started. That is probably, so let me just pull it all in together again. That's it. That's all the equipment you're going to need to get you going, to be able to just do basic repairs, be able to get in and do what you need to do. Yeah, this is really it. This is all the components you're going to need. So with that, I will see you on the next one.